Well, yes, as you've seen, retired Brigadier General Olusegun Ajano joins us next. Is a former military officer. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, looking at all of this, I mean, whichever way you turn, there's one matter that needs to be addressed or issue that needs to be quickly tackled. But looking at this particular one, many have questioned the methodology, the manner, or the approach that the government is taking, sending military to invade, in their words, some of those areas. They think that may not necessarily give us the kind of solutions we want. Do you share the same view?
In the first place, let us look at what could have led to the difficulty in the Niger Delta. Starting from President Yar'Adua's time, the issue of even as far back as President Obasanjo's tenure, the Niger Delta issue had always been there, and each president had evolved an approach to type of solve the problem. There is no human problem that is that has a straightforward solution, because once we are dealing with human beings, politics invariably steps in, and the approach should always be stick and carrot. You do things, of course, those who are benefiting from the confusion will still want to continue, and that's the criminal aspect, and it has to be addressed and addressed effectively. So I cannot say the current president is wrong in sending the military to the Niger Delta, but at the same time, I expect that the government would have been silently involved in getting to know the reasons for the resurgence of violence in the region.
Okay, if they were silently trying to find that out, don't you think that now seeing the military presence there perhaps may rubbish whatever information they were trying to get, or the kind of message they were trying to send quietly to the people?
Yes, you see, military involvement in any place signifies a crisis. You have something that has to be brutally stopped. That's why we bring in the military. If it was just a matter of trying to trace those who are committing the crime and then trying to bring them back into the normal lines of living, conforming with the law and all the rest of it, you probably would have used the police. But when you bring in the military, it is supposed to be a final stop. And in the process, there are collateral damages in the involvement of military. I wouldn't be surprised. I read in the papers, Barama 2 has been virtually eliminated, people have run away and things like that. Definitely, because the military is involved, you are not unlikely to see this type of extreme situations. But at the same time, I believe that the government would have initiated the processes. I've seen a number of Niger Delta indigents comment on what is going on there. I've seen a number of them suggest that discussions should be held. I know that the government is not averse to discussions, but who has surfaced as a leader of the Niger Delta Avengers to discuss with the government? I don't know any.
You know, but the thing about this thing is, look, whichever step the president takes or whatever is done about this, you'll find those who will applaud it, you'll find those who will criticize it. And,
yes.
And that's the democracy. Ideas have got to intend. But when they send military into an area, you hear people say, look, when the herdsmen issues happened, you didn't deploy helicopters, you didn't send military to immediately move in. And so with those kind of messages filtering in, and then the military comes in, one wonders if the people come up with that kind of argument, how do you think the government can then approach that?
You see, different problems, different approaches. In the herdsmen issue, there was a lot of shout. And I don't think the government just sent in troops to sort of pursue. I saw a directive from the president: pursue them, apprehend them, and deal with them. Maybe because it is a dispersed group that we are talking about. These are herdsmen that move from one location to the other, and so on and so forth. And of course, I have read in the papers and in a few security reports that got into my hands that the herdsmen issue is not in fact totally local. It involves some criminals from outside the country.
All the more reason why the military should have moved in swiftly, protecting us against external aggression.
Yes, one can look at it from that point of view, but at the same time, where you have a declared war on your community, it means there's going to be sustained attack. Whereas what we have in the case of the herdsmen is a hit and run. A hit and run. We invariably locate the area of the abode of the herdsmen, but by the time you get in there, they are actually not the attackers. The Chief of Army Staff came out, I think, was it last week or something, and told us that, in fact, those arrested, they found that there were foreigners among them. Mali, Chad, Niger, Mauritania, they found them there. And when you look at that type of mix-up, you now find out that, in fact, the type of problem we have in Somalia is what is gradually creeping in here. And also, we must take a look at the involvement of the late Gaddafi, who was training a number of insurgents in his enclave to destabilize a few other African countries. And when he died, of course, these people were loose. And they are the ones who are now going about as mercenaries to aid the herdsmen. Now, who are the owners of the cattle? I think we must address that, our minds to that. The owners of the cattle are the ones responsible for hiring these people as security personnel that come into the country. And they constitute themselves into a sort of, killer squad. And I think that's what. So that it's a slightly different problem from the Niger Deltans. The Niger Deltans are the ones living there. They are the ones who have been subjected to a number of deprivations over the years, even when the oil companies were laying their pipes and so on and so forth. I went there some times ago when the father of one of my colleagues in the force, when I was still in service, lost his father. And by the time we got to that place, we discovered that even to ease ourselves, in the bedroom that we have to pass through, I climbed over a pipe. The bedroom. And I think that tells you something had gone wrong in the Niger Delta a very long time ago. Right from the inception of our exploitation of oil in Nigeria. So it is not something that a president can get there and solve within his tenure of 4 years. No. But what cannot happen? It has to be a sustained effort over a long period of time.
So when you say sustained effort, right now there are agitations and efforts have been made to clean up Ogoni land, but
yes,
besides the cleanup,